can you kind of maybe talk about kind of that shift that you saw in yourself and your family over the last couple of years that put you in a position to make that decision?
Yeah, so we actually started with small steps. I had a friend that kept on telling me about Dave Ramsey, and I guess we would call his a podcast, but he started so long ago, it was radio. But he has a podcast, radio, all of that, whatever. And we were trying to figure out ways to pay down our debt and kind of get ahead in life. So we really used him as a stepping stone. But after that was like in 2018. After doing like 3 years of that, really for me, I was like, we want to have something that is of abundance. And I
Mm,
know after I pay off all of my debt, I'm going to have nothing. And
mm,
I don't think God will put all of this in me for me to have a deposit of nothing. It just doesn't add up
mm.
for me. So once we had done about, I say about 2 years, because we started the business in 2020.
Okay.
So after we had done that, then we were able to like really start thinking about compounding our money and knocking out debt that way. So with that mentality change, it's really just been plugging into the morning meetup, plugging into a community that people are doing something similar in, and reading and letting the word of God like really manifest in your life. Like,
Amen.
remember when this happened? Yeah, that's a little similar to what the author is explaining. So take this, how you need to take it, and immediately apply.
Right.
Um, so once I started to do that in like 2020, 2021, it's just been really clarifying, and I'm grateful for the perspective that has developed. So
Right.
even outside of the mindset and all that development, I'm really grateful for the clarity that comes when something happens. And
Yeah.
that spirit of discernment is like, hey, you actually don't even have to reflect on this moment. Let's see what this feels like now. So I'm so thankful for that.
That's awesome, man. It actually reminds me. So me and my family we're going through First Samuel, right now for our devotions, and we was reading the story of David, right, and Goliath. And one of the points that came out was the fact that when David was actually going to face Goliath,
Hmm.
he brought up the fact that, well, God was with me with the bear, God was with me with the lion, right? He had these previous experiences, right? Like we say, right, these small stepping stone experiences with God. I mean, we'll say it's a lion and a bear, right? But calm down, it wasn't Goliath, okay? Catch my
Yeah.
point, right? But he had these experiences with God, and he also had the experiences. Guess what? The brothers wasn't around when he had those experiences. His
Right.
dad wasn't around him. He was taking care of that business by himself. That was that personal experience with God. So now in the crowd, right, with Goliath, now he has confidence to take care of this gargantuan task, right? Whatever that he's placed, right? And that's the same with
Right.
our experiences with our life, with our businesses, right? Those stepping stones are so important, right? And we don't need to neglect them, right? Or kind of downplay them. And I know a lot of entrepreneurs, as we're on our journey, we can do that sometimes because we don't realize that, man, when we look back, when we get a chance to look back, we'll see like, wow, all of these things were for a purpose, for a reason, to bring us to
Right.
a point we are now. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because I've seen, look, I know, right, based on what you shared, right, on some of your social channels, right, y'all have not only paid off six figures in debt, right, but also have made six figures, right, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
So this is success, you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
so, but that didn't start, it didn't start like that, I'm sure, right? You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
you say, right, it was a process, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? So
You definitely have to gauge your risk level and start with dip your toe in a little bit. So in doing that, and once you get more comfortable with the information, then you're able to do with it what you will. So I'm
mm,
excited on everyone's journey. It is scary stepping out and being like, hey, I know I have to put, so and so into the business, and I feel like I'm without. But I can tell you, even with all of the money that we invested and that we got back and such and so forth, God has always provided. There has never been a moment that I have been without. So as long as
right,
I'm walking in His grace, I'm learning that it is already so. I'm not going to worry. I'm not going to stress about it. He has
mm,
not left me by the wayside. So those stepping stones that you're talking about, even throughout my life, when I was my mom is a single parent, things of that sort, I said, so many people in that situation was left by the wayside. But that's a stepping stone in my faith also, because I'm like, I've already seen the bottom. So I already know what that looks like, and I already know how God provided. So I'm not fearful of none of that.
New videos, new podcast episodes every Sunday at 9 o'clock. You can find the full episode by clicking the card up at the top right of this video. If you prefer an audio only experience, then we want to let you know that we're streaming through every major podcast streaming platform. For the full list, you can go to www.lionandthelambo.com. Until next time, go impact the world.